All right, we're live.
All right. Hey,
All right, good evening, folks. Here's another episode of Kicking It with Kickstand. Tonight I got Mike Baker. He's joining us. So Mike Baker is a current admin of the Waycross Gaming Community. He also has a couple other projects going on, which we'll kind of get into later. So Mike, how about telling everybody what any current miniature projects you're working on, what you're painting, what you're building?
let's see. This guy is probably, I would say he's about 90% done. These are the bolt action Americans. Trying to get you a good view there.
Yeah. All right.
And, that's my current project. When they're done, me and Randy Jan are working on American Civil War in 172nd. We're going to do the Battle of Gettysburg. Not the battle, one of the engagements at Gettysburg. So we're working our way through that. Probably after that, my next thing will be Ancients of one flavor or another.
Okay. Well, yeah. Right now, I'm kind of working on some orc gore gruntas for Age of Sigmar.
Those are big.
So I use the snow texture, but I'm actually gonna paint it like mud. And then I'm gonna do a wash and then pretty much kind of call them done. But that's part of a project that me and some other guys are doing for what we call Monster Mayhem, since it's the month of May. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I've got going on.
Is that what Sig was posting up in the group earlier?
Yeah, Sig posted something that he had done. So, you've been Mike, you've been gaming for a long time. How many years have you been doing this thing?
I want to say 38 years. I was telling somebody today.
So yeah, that's a long time. So what game started it all for you?
Avalon Hills, 1964 Midway. And if I'd have thought about it, I'd have had it sitting here. I still have the game. So yes, it was originally published in 64. My dad bought it in 1983, and that was our first game. I've played it a couple of times. I actually did a historical win on somebody. I caught all 4 Japanese carriers, planes on deck, reloading, and got the historical result. Sunk those bad boys. So
Okay.
that was my first one. My second, game that I really got into was Avalon Hills Squad Leader. Anybody that's on the group has talked to me at all knows that's really one of my top 5 and probably my top 1. I like to tell people I'll play the game with the drop of a hat. I'll even drop the hat.
I got you.
Yeah, and
Now,
go ahead.
Do you still? Sorry to interrupt. Do you still own the original copy, or did you have to rebuy it?
No,
Your first game.
I still own the original copy of Midway. As a matter of fact, after this broadcast, I will pull it out and get a picture and post it up under the share. I also still own my original Squad Leader box. It has been repaired with packing tape, and I'll post pictures of that as well, just because I've had those games have literally. Squad Leader has been all over the country with me. It's been to California, Texas, South Carolina, Florida, and Georgia.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and also, folks, when this is over, this will be posted to the Waycross Gaming Community's YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe to that. You can also subscribe to my own personal channel. It'll be on there as well. So we have the Waycross Gaming Community YouTube channel and Tyler Peck YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe to those, please, and post and share and like and do all those other things that can get our name out there for us. Also, folks that are viewing, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to make, please do so. We can see them. You may pop up as Facebook user. Like this person says, Facebook user, hello. Well, right here on StreamYard, we cannot see your name because you have not given StreamYard permission to. So it's real easy to do. But anyway.
I can cover the Facebook side, Tyler. That's Theodore Garcia, our friend from Beaufort, and
Okay.
a new bolt action player. Hey there, Theo. Good to see you, man. Hey, Simon. Mark Jamonville from Savannah. Good to see you.
Okay. So we had him. Yep. Hey, Mikey. So, but anyway, so all right. So you just mentioned that Avalon Hills. What was the second one? You said it was Squad Leader. So that's one of your top 5 games. What would be your other? I guess your other 4 to round out your top 5.
Oh, other 4 in order. And boy, that can.
Well, no, you don't have to. You don't have to necessarily put them in order. Just the top 5 games.
That can vary from day to day. Yeah, Squad Leader holds the top, although I don't get to play it nearly enough. Believe it or not, the next one's not a war game. It would be Terraforming Mars. It pushes all the fun buttons of a great game. After that would be whatever current fantasy game I happen to be playing. In this case, it's Warlords of Erewhon. Just started that as part of my exploration of all things Warlord. Although Lord of the Rings is a top one as well. So there's 4. And after that, it really can vary from day to day, to be honest. Probably any of the Commanding Colors, just group them all together. Memoir 44, Commanding Colors Ancients, Commanding Colors Napoleonics, and Red Alert Space Combat. Love all those as well.
Gotcha. All right, yeah, we have Facebook user been building ogres, got 5 total now for 15mm squad leader rocks, excuse me. So
and Lord of the Rings rocks. That's Mark Jamonville. He's played all those.
All right, yeah. So
let me pivot off of Mark's comment though. Squad leader is my favorite. GEV ogre probably in that 6 or 7 slot there. It's one that I think everybody in the group has seen at least once. Tyler, I think last time we got together, we played the reissue of the pocket box version of GEV, which is set in the ogre universe. Right. So many of our viewers will be familiar with, of course, the whole Terminator series. Ogre takes a Terminator brain and puts it in an oversized tank and then turns it loose on the unsuspecting humans. So it's a lot of fun. Personally, I tend to like the non-cyber tank stuff. The hover tanks, light tanks, heavy tanks, lots of flying infantry. So that's probably my number 6 or number 7. It's one that sees the table a lot.
Yeah. I know you push it out a lot, and then the big ogre box.
Yeah.
Actually, for as big as it is, it still comes out a good bit for you, especially at conventions and some big game day events that the WGC hosts and everything. So I guess it was probably 5 years ago or so. We're on the WGC's on their 5-year anniversary. So you moved to Waycross just over 5 years ago, and I guess you kind of you met some other local gamers. And then how did kind of walk the people through how that process started of forming the WGC?
Sure. Well, when I knew I was going to move from Savannah, and it was really kind of funny talking to the Savannah crew, and Mark Jamonville is one of those guys. They were like, Waycross, there are no gamers in Waycross. And I was like, well, I've always been of the philosophy, if there's not an 8, you can always grow them. Remember, I tell everybody, you can tell a potential gamer if they're breathing. So I moved to Waycross, and I set up the Waycross community group. Added, honestly, a bunch of my Augusta and Savannah friends to kind of give the group a little bit of numbers and a little bit of throw weight. And had our first meeting at the mall, I think in March or April. Posted up on Facebook and shared it out, said, hey, we're going to meet at the mall. Show up if you like. And we had like 6 people show up. And everybody was having a good time. So I thought we might be onto something here. So we had 6 people, which even now sometimes we'll go as low as 6 people, especially on a weeknight. Those first days we were meeting on Thursdays kind of to keep the Friday night free. We've changed quite a number of things over the years.
Right.
But yeah, so we had 6 people, and I thought, well, we really have something going here. So I reached out to the mall manager, Jimmy White, through the Chamber of Commerce, and I got his contact information, and I called him. I said, hey, there's a group of us. We've kind of taken over the empty food court, which is now back empty again. But we've taken over the empty food court. We want to meet, 2 or 3 times a week and play board games and miniature games. It's a pretty well behaved crew, and usually I'll be there or somebody that I designate. We'll kind of keep an eye on things. It's my first experience dealing with a non-gamer in Waycross, and I got to say it was very nice. Tyler, you still broadcasting? I lost you on the feed there.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So I have to say it was really exciting. First thing he said is thank you for your business. Second thing he said is of course. He said, if there's any problems, of course we'll have to talk about it. I said there won't be, and he said, well, great. And ever since it's been honestly a very great relationship. The mall has been as accommodating as they could be, even going so far during our last game day to give us one of the empty mall stores to use kind of as a breakout room to do some different things. We over the years we've added different people. Of course, we added Sig Lee as an admin for a while, and he brought just a lot of technical skills, a lot of competitiveness to the club. Great guy to kind of bounce ideas off of because he's been gaming probably as long as I have, although more on the miniature side of the house. Added Tyler, and actually I think Michael Holland was our after my wife. I think Michael Holland was our third admin, and I think it was then Lee and then Tyler, and that kind of rounds out our admin group. Yep. So we've added admins over the years, added members. People have come and gone like they do with everything. Some people have kind of pivoted how they do their gaming. Some folks, even in Waycross, some folks prefer kind of to meet at a home or a little more quiet venue where they're focused on a more particular game during a given cycle. But it's been a great experience. We have great members, and we've had a great reception from the community.
Right. Someone said, "Hey Trish," because Miss Trish just walked in the back there. So Facebook user says hello, Mike. I guess you can tell.
Mark, quit flirting with my wife.
So anyway, yeah. So I know that when I first met you, we had technically already moved down to Waycross, and then had to move in Waycross from Waycross. So when I met you, we were attempting to move, and you had asked me if I liked gaming, and I was like, "Yeah, I like video games." And you were like, "No, not talking about video games," And so anyway, but that's kind of how I got introduced to the community, and then I guess it's probably been a year or two that I've been on the admin staff. So, but yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot, and like you said, the game nights have kind of changed here and there. What nights they're actually on, and locations have kind of changed throughout. And I got a question. So as a historian, name three people that you would like to, sit down and play a game with. They can be living or dead. They can be like an historical figure. And then like what game would you get them to play?
Wow. Three historical figures.
Well, they don't have to be historical necessarily. I just thought, as an historian, you would enjoy, some great figures in history.
Yep. I would absolutely love playing a game of Black Powder with Captain Rogers, who founded Rogers Rangers. I'd probably get my head handed to me, but that would be fun. I'd like to do probably going to be all generals here, given the theme there.
It can all be the same game, so everybody can sit down and play the same game.
Oh no, I'd love to play a game of Squad Leader with Captain Winters from Band of Brothers. That'd be interesting. I actually have, if you remember Band of Brothers where they attacked the German artillery battery, I actually have that as a scenario in Squad Leader. And Ancients, oh gee, I think I'd love to sit down and play Julius Caesar. That would be very interesting. And I'm sure we'd also, parallel to that, probably have a good discussion of politics as well. Caesar would probably be a fun one to play Terraforming Mars with.
Yeah. Somebody, Peter Cushing played Little Wars from H.G. Wells, and I've seen the video. He had over 6,000 minis.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's from Jamonville. That's awesome.
Wow. All right, again, folks, that are viewing, don't forget, we got a lot of people making comments. If you got any questions, feel free to ask. I'm sitting here with Mike Baker. He's one of the fellow admins of the Waycross Gaming Community. And we'll get into one of his other projects here shortly. Also, don't forget, when this is over, it'll be posted out to YouTube. Waycross Gaming Community has a YouTube page, so if you would please subscribe to it, that would be awesome, and help those numbers get up. I also have a personal YouTube channel. It's just under Tyler Peck. So you can find that one as well and subscribe to it. Right now, it's pretty much the same videos going out on both. So anyway, there's that. So again, please, like I said, if you've got questions, comments, feel free to leave those.
Longville, that's awesome.
So here we have John Hirsch played 40K before he died. So all right. Mike, we'll get into your Gator Games and Books. So kind of tell us, what was the process and the reasoning for starting Gator Games and Books? Yep.
Well, it's actually, as a side note, it's actually easier to see the comments on the broadcast app. It's kind of a combination. I've always had kind of a background interest in maybe bringing a game store to Waycross. There's probably a conversation that comes up at least every 2 or 3 months among the admins. Wish we had a store. If we had a store, how would it look like? How would we run it? And we've bounced different ideas around. I've also always been a big proponent of online selling, and I often feel like that a lot of the brick and mortar stores really don't fully leverage social media and the opportunities and possibilities of selling online. And so there's always been that element of it as well. And I've got a bit of an entrepreneurial streak. I've actually been working since I was about 8 years old doing one thing or another. So I'm not unfamiliar with literally being in business for myself. So that was all kind of in the back of my mind. I'd come into a little bit of extra cash that I had available to use for something when I was actually talking to one of the Warlord reps at Siege of Augusta last year, and he said, "Look, if you start a trade account, here I can give you an exceptional discount, and it was about 10% lower than even what they normally give as trade discount." So there was a minimum buy-in. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't more than I could afford.
Right.
And so I brought the order form home and kind of looked it over. And I had been looking at, actually, I've always been a Warlord Games fan. I own many of their titles, SPQR, Cruel Seas, which I've had for a couple of years, Black Seas, which is their sailing ship game. These were games I already owned. Bolt Action I already owned and was interested in. So it wasn't a hard sale for them to say, "Hey, you want to have an opportunity to get more goodies at discount?" So I took a good look at it. And looking at our community, I know we've got a lot of 40K folks. I know we got a lot of folks that like World War II. So it was either do Bolt Action, or the way their program breaks out is you could do Bolt Action, you could do what they called historicals, which was Pike and Shot and Ancients, or you could do a combination of Blood Red Skies, their air combat game, and Cruel Seas. And our group, just kind of knowing what I know about our group, kind of the feel I had, I really felt like the Bolt Action would be an easier thing for folks to get engaged in. So I went ahead and brought that in. The other reason I brought it in is at the time there was really, and there really still isn't, anyone in Waycross that sells any kind of serious wargaming materials.
Right.
Whether it's certainly nothing historical. And even on the science fiction side, and we've talked about where that comes from. Of course, we get really good support. I got to give a shout out. We're now kind of competitors, but I love them to death. David Finn and Gigabytes, I mean, they give great support to the community, always have. Again, Sig kind of built that relationship. And I mean, I walked into Giga a couple of years ago, said, hey, I'm from the Waycross Gaming Community, and we get 20% discount for being on WGC. And they said, okay, no questions asked. You know, I got my stuff. They gave me the discount. Have a nice day. So Giga's always provided kind of really excellent remote support. Galactic Games and Comics has shared some things with us. Haven't had as much opportunity to trade with them other than at the JekyllCon. So what I looked at in bringing the store in was, one, I'm bringing a niche in that nobody else is really servicing right now in historicals, and that's always been my passion. You guys looked at my top 5. The question Tyler asked, I play a lot of fantasy, I play a lot of science fiction, but history is really what got me interested in wargaming. So I said, well, let's do this. So brought it in. I sell online. I can, matter of fact, just to put a commercial in, I can get anything that Warlord sells pretty much at one form of discount or another, generally 20%. Some of it's going to be a little bit less. The Doctor Who would be probably closer to about 10% because I don't get nearly the markdown there. Right. But happy to provide that service for our community. And I told Warlord, you know, when they signed me on, I said, I'm going to be mostly online for probably a while. I said, online and trade shows. And they're like, fine, just move product.
Yeah.
So we'll do what we can.
Yep. And that website is correct, right? Gator Games Wayx.com.
That's right. That's right. Sometimes it's something I was just talking with Tricia. We use GoDaddy as our host, and sometimes it's a little slow to load. If you get an error message, just hit reload. It usually goes through the second time.
Okay.
So
yeah, good to know. And I was actually on there the other night, and you also offer there's some terrain on there as well.
Yeah, that's a partnership between me and Heath Coker with SwampWorks.
Okay.
So I've worked with Heath and talked to Heath over the years. I love the work he does.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? If I'm going to start a store, let me help you and me. So we came to an agreement of a rate he would sell me terrain at. And so I feature SwampWorks terrain on my site. In fact, what you see there is what's left of what I took to CoastalCon. CoastalCon was very successful. His stuff was very well received. I'll be adding more of his. I think he made a comment.
Yeah, he'd go for woo woo.
Yeah, I'll be adding more of his terrain to my site, with an ability, of course, to reorder at need if I don't have it in stock. And that's true for anything in the Warlord Games catalog. If you don't see it on my store, but you see it on the Warlord catalog, it just means I haven't bought it and put it physically in stock yet. Right. But I can get it usually within 2 weeks. Might be as long as a month, but you know, if I know I've got an order coming, I can usually find a way to build out and build around it.
Right.
I've got that. And then my other product line is from what's called the Starfleet Battles universe. So another game, and it doesn't rate among my top 5, but it's definitely among my top 10. It's called Starfleet Battles. So we've all seen both the old or the new Star Trek. And it's set in that universe. It's actually set in the old Kirk universe, and they've got a very narrow copyright. They can only do things within that 5-year timeline. Although I got to give Stephen Cole full credit that he's built the product out pretty nicely. The Starfleet Battles itself is a very complicated game. It's on a scale of 1 to 10. It probably starts at a 7 and goes to a 12. So it's not a light game that just anybody's going to necessarily look at and pick up. However, I happen to know that a lot of our folks like their card games. And Amarillo Design Bureau, who does Starfleet Battles, has a game called Starfleet Battle Force. And that is a card game set in the Starfleet universe. If you've ever played the old Starfleet Command, which was put out by Origin Games years ago, that was actually a computer version of Starfleet Battles. And the same control interface that you saw in Starfleet Command it is the same control interface you see on the cards for Starfleet Battles, for Starfleet Battle Force. And that's probably my least expensive game.
I got you. And that's available on the website as well?
Yeah, that was actually the first product line I bought. I had shown the game several times, and all the retailers kept telling me they couldn't get it from the distributor. And we'll come back and talk about that a little bit in a minute. And so finally I said, you know what? I'm tired of going to shows and showing the game and nobody can buy it. I'm tired of showing it here locally. Nobody can buy it. So I approached Amarillo Design Bureau and said, look, I want a dozen copies at wholesale because I think I can sell it. And they're like, fine, here you go. I'm actually also a representative for Amarillo Design Bureau. I'm what they call an ambassador because I represent them in and around the web as well as at different conventions and run demo games. So I had a relationship. I've had a long relationship with them. And so I got the dozen games and honestly sat on them for a while. When we decided to go ahead and launch Gator Games, I put a really big push out, and that's been my top selling product. It doesn't surprise me. Card games are probably the easiest thing to put on the table. There's a lot of us that like to play card games, and it's one of my least expensive items at $20.
Right.
And I've really gotten a chuckle out of how quickly that has sold. So it's a good solid product. I know. Tyler, you've played it with me. Lee Yoakum, I see him on here. Lee Yoakum has played it. He owns a copy. Another member in our group owns a copy, and so it's been rather popular with our group. And everywhere I go, where I get people to sit down and play, they're interested in it. It's not an uncommon thing to see people pick up the game if you can get them to sit down and play it.
We have a question from one of our viewers. Where do you see online sales over the next 12 months?
Well, mine can only go up. I'm averaging about 2 sales a week, which I'm grateful for. I think that's pretty fantastic given the limited distribution I have. And I think overall across the hobby, we're going to see online sales become an even larger part of the market. I watched as David Finn and Gigabytes did a complete pivot when the whole COVID-19 broke out, and he has now rolled out a fully functional game store. So that's where the stores that are going to succeed are going to have an interactive store presence online. There are a few. There's another store that managed to survive the COVID without having a online store presence. But they've got a Facebook group that's some 2,500 people, and they were able to do a lot of pickup.
Yeah.
So and their overhead is very low. So I see online sales being a really large component an even larger component of the market. I think we're going to see, as a result of this slowdown, I think we're going to see an even larger shrinking in the brick and mortar market. People have gone so long without playing, and the people aren't playing, they're not coming into your store to buy product. 2, as some of the bigger stores or some of the online stores like myself literally reach people face to face on social media, we're going to capture market share. And my plan eventually is to go the other direction, build an online presence, similar to Noble Knight Games. If anybody's familiar with them, he started as an email, then a website, and then he opened a store. I would eventually like to open a store in Waycross. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm kicking around a couple of different store model ideas, and certainly I'm glad I don't have that overhead to cover. Right now, yeah, I'd be just pulling my hair out.
Well, we have Facebook user. Hope we all get to play soon. We all need the feed, the drive for killing minis. We got a couple other comments kind of along those lines. Somebody Starfleet Battles rocks also. Miss Nancy, I'm watching and listening. Thank you, Miss Nancy. Let's see. Somebody, hey, Mitch Mitchell. What's the status on No Name #2?
That's probably coming from Mark. Mark, I don't know that. I'm not on that leadership. Oh, that's probably directed to Mitch Mitchell. I'll leave him to answer that in the chat. So let me talk about Mr. Mitch Mitchell. Great guy. He publishes a World War II rule set as well. Mitch, type the name of the rule set in there. I don't have it in front of me, although I do have a few copies to sell. But Mitch took over running the games for No Name Con.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Same location reserved for July. Still planning to have the con as long as it stays together.
And let me put a huge commercial out for that. For one thing, Mitch really did a top-notch job with that. It was really just a kind of a show up and play. No schedule, no handouts, just just if you want to come play, come play. They've got a Facebook group. I'll share that back over here. I think I organized one time slot just because that's how I am, but on their group, and you can do that. That is one that if you got to pick one con to go to, I think Max may have went to that one as well. It's a 1 day right there in Fernandina Beach. It's an hour and a half away. You can drive up, you play games all day. It's last year it was heavily board game oriented. That doesn't mean we may not break out some minis next year, but it's certainly probably going to stay small footprint minis. Tyler, some of the miniature games that you're interested in or that you own, Underworlds would fit right there in that venue.
Right.
So again, a big, huge shout out to the No Name Con. It's a lot of fun, and we are just excited about taking part in that in July. Nancy went as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, yeah, big tip of the hat for Mitch for putting that on. And if you've never played, you've really there's a few venues that'll make you go, wow. Gaming at a country club is very much a wow.
Nice. Yeah, I met Mitch a couple of years ago. I bought a game off of him, so I met him down in Jacksonville and bought a game in a parking lot from him. So, but yeah, he seems like a nice guy, and I've seen interactions on Facebook and different groups with him. So that's great. Maybe if it's if it's back and running, maybe hopefully I can get down there. So usually the June, July, end of July might be. Well, no, that should be a weekend day, I guess. So hopefully I can make it. So I guess this is him right here. Thanks for the shout out. So you're welcome. Again, folks that are viewing, just leave questions, comments. We're talking about some of those right now, so feel free to do so. Also, if you are watching, you can go on and share that out to your page and other pages that you might be a group of. And also, when this is over with, we will be putting it out on YouTube. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel when it's out on there. We would greatly appreciate it. And then you can share that out to all your friends and family as well. So we have miniature games rock. Most people love the push minis and get away from the real world for a while. It does give you a sense of leaving the world behind and becoming a person of another time frame. So, and hey, with 2 expert mini painters, should I wash before painting the weapons?
No. Wash is well, I guess it depends, but wash is usually a step you do after you finish your painting. For example, let me get one. So hopefully you guys can see that. So that's a hey, there we go. That's a BAR, and what I did there is actually I did not wash that weapon, so that's a metallic. And I just put the metallic on there. Now, if you look at the uniform itself, helps if I don't put a shadow on it. If you look at the uniform itself, you can just see. I don't have a great connection. The paint that's in the fold. So what I did there is I went in and painted the uniform, and then I came back with Army Painter military wash and washed that in. But I always wash after weapons. And then I'll come back, and if I want to make the weapon pop, I don't on this one necessarily, I may come back and do a light highlight after that. Tyler, what do you think?
I think sometimes it just kind of depends on what you're doing. I know with my Tyranid army, I did I guess I kind of base coated them, and then I actually washed them with that the Seraphim sepia or whatever.
Yep.
I kind of washed them with that, and then I did a dry brush of Screaming Skull. Yep. So I think it just kind of depends on what you're going for, and I'm sure I'm not an expert by any means. So I think it just kind of depends on what you're going for. I'm sure other people will can comment and give their opinion on it. I've only been painting for probably about 4 years now. So again, I'm by no by no means an expert, so take my advice however you want it.
Somebody answered that question as well on the discussion thread, and they're dead on right. Paint the base colors, then detail, then wash, then redetail. That's what I do. It brings out the lines and definition of the piece.
So, then trust me, it really works out. Mike will tell I detail a lot, so I'm not sure who that is.
Probably
so, but anyway, again, folks, if you care to have your name mentioned without us having to flip back to the Facebook page, you can just click on the link there in the description of the video, and I think you just, maybe click two things. You click the link, and then you just basically give StreamYard permission to use your name. It's super easy. Otherwise, we'll just be calling you Facebook user. So that's on you. Heath Coker says base coat, layers, gloss varnish, wash, extra details, matte varnish.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, I've heard people doing that, and I've seen that a lot on some recent videos where some people will go on and do the give a varnish in between painting steps to kind of help keep those layers on that they've already done, and then go back and do like he just said, the washing, the extra detail work. So I think, basically kind of whatever works for you is my opinion. I know a lot of people, they kind of do different things somewhat. So basically find what method works for you. And so that's what, they're asking. So then seal after everything is done. So, yeah.
And just to build off your
comment, when you are.
So just to build off your comment there, Tyler, the gloss varnish, and I've seen that technique. I just usually don't have the patience to use it. But the reason you would gloss before you do your wash is gloss varnish makes the wash flow better. So it's going to tend to,
right.
Like if you look at my, again, looking at the guys I have here, and I'm satisfied with this. I tend to kind of go with a light palette and a bit of a dusty look on my guys anyway. But had I used a gloss varnish, there would have been less of the highlight color on the surface of the model. It would have settled more into the crevices. So that's a big reason to use gloss, and then go ahead with your highlights, and then a final matte.
Yeah, and then this. Sorry guys, my line keeps locking up, and I'm missing most of your comments. No worries. Again, this will be pretty much saved. So you can go back and view it, and then you can scroll through. You can scroll through the comments at the end if you would, like to do so. So, but guys, yeah, just keep questions or comments coming. We're just kind of hanging out.
And Heath said the same thing I did. And like I say, Heath is he's definitely an expert painter. I actually had him paint up 30 French and Indian British for me.
Right. Yep. For those that have not seen, there is a video, and again, this is on the YouTube channel. It's on the Waycross Gaming YouTube channel. I did an episode with Heath Coker, who owns and operates SwampWorks. It's a 3D printing service. So you can contact him about your 3D print needs. And also he does do some commission paint work. Also, if you are interested in commission paint artists, there is a local guy here in Waycross as well, Preston Bernard. And then on Facebook, it's Preston Bernard McNanners or something like that. And also he is, I did a video with him, and his information is on that video. So we have two guys for sure here in Waycross that can do some commission paint stuff for you. Let's see. So yeah, all the mini players have a great paint job on all their minis. Well, thank you. So yeah, we have quite a few people that that paint their own stuff and do their own thing. I know one of the newest painters is Sarah Yoakum, and if you haven't seen her stuff for the Star Wars game, it's very nice. I mean, it's very nice looking, very great looking. I don't know the proper adjective to use there, but it looks really good. So you can check her work out sometime. She's on the Waycross Gaming Community as well, so you can probably ding her and get her to send those pictures of her Star Wars stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, and then, yeah, I mean, a lot of the other guys, do their painting. We got a lot of people that play some Underworlds and Warhammer, Sigmar, and 40K. So a lot of armies painted there. Mike's more the historian guy, and Lord of the Rings.
Kill Team.
And Kill Team. Yep. So we got a lot of that stuff painted. Also, Sarah Yoakum and her husband Lee run Frostgrave, so they've got a lot of those fantasy type miniatures painted. Randy Yawn, who goes by Joy Yawn on Facebook, does D&D and has a lot of his miniatures painted for D&D as well. So Sarah's mother-in-law, she does great work. So some Facebook user, I would love to take commission, but got 1,000 minis to catch on since COVID-19. Been painting over 3,000 so far, 15 millimeter to 20 mil, 15 to 20 mil. So there's always paint more minis.
I think everybody has that pile of lead or pile of gray that they just keep chipping away at.
Yeah, the Gray Dead Army or Pile of Shame or all the other names like that. So, I was talking to somebody the other night. Can't remember who it was or who I was talking to. I mean, if you just set aside, 10 to 30 minutes a night, you probably would be surprised at what you could actually get done and how many minis you could knock out on your paint list. So
that's probably something that makes historical miniature gaming also. I wish people would kind of take a second look at it sometimes. We get fantasy and science fiction are great, but your historical miniatures are awesome in that one, when you start researching the periods, you'll find out that the periods were every bit as interesting as anything you'll find written in a fiction book. And then some of these periods, like for example, medieval or the pike and shot period, even the colonial period, the variety of factions that you can model and paint will rival anything out of any fantasy or sci-fi universe. The third thing is it's and I've had people talk to me about this on the science fiction and fantasy side. It's easier to get around painter's block. If you're painting, if you're going to paint an American soldier from World War II, you'll see a bunch of different paint jobs, but that's pretty much the color scheme you're going to go with.
Right.
For some people find that limiting, I guess. But again, you take a period like the high medieval period or the pike and shot period. If you're someone that likes to really detail out uniforms and do different uniforms, those absolutely lend themselves to it. And even within the colonial period, especially if you're doing colonial troops, you're going to see a variety of uniforms. So when I talk colonial, I'm talking, the 70. While you could shoot colonial, you can go anywhere from 1600 to 1900. But certainly, like the American War for Independence or the French Indian War, you're going to see a good variety of uniform types that you can put on the table, and kind of scratch that itch. And usually, a well-written game, something like Black Powder or Musket and Tomahawk, is going to have a good variety of factions for you to play as well. So that's kind of a shout out there for the historical side of things. And one of the things I like about it, when I went to paint my GIs, it was like, okay, I know I want some flavor of green. When I did my German Fallschirmjägers, it's like, yeah, I know I want some. I know I got to do a camo pattern on that. I got to say I did the Fallschirmjägers partly too, and this is actually the second time I've done German paratroopers, and both times one of the things that attracted me to them is, instead of being all the camo that everybody has in World War II, they've got the gray blue trousers, and so a little bit of color in with your battlefield brown, if you will.
Right. This person, I'm very much a novice. Well, we all start somewhere is something I guess I would say, because like I said, about 4 years ago is when I started, and my earlier work is crap. That's just putting it the best way I can, I guess. But I would say to whoever this is, and this is still coming from somebody that's still pretty new at painting, is maybe with every war band or army that you paint, just try for something different. Try to excel at something different this time. So the first time through, you may just you just want to get everything done, and then the second time you may want to work on adding a wash, and then your third army. I mean, whatever it is, you may want to work more on flesh tones or eyes. I hate eyes. I suck at eyes.
I don't do it.
But I try to paint those. But anyway,
So
go ahead.
So Mitch Mitchell has asked a question. What's the number one game on my shelf of opportunity? What's a shelf of opportunity, I wonder?
We'll see if he kind of clarifies. But then, we got one thing for sure. The mini player groups have a bond that brings them together in a special way. It makes friends faster than most ways. And it's also a great way to learn and understand certain times in history. So, and then mostly to make a great group of, I guess they mean permanent. And then it says shelf of shame.
Oh, I guess that would be the games that I don't ever seem to get around playing.
Yeah.
Wow. And it is a shelf of shame because I have a few. I'm embarrassed to say I have a couple that are still in the shrink. Probably the next one that I really want to push to get on the table is the new issue of Dune, which Sig was gracious enough to pick up from Giga for me. I was just telling Trish once that we get out of this COVID, we've got to put Twilight Imperium back on the table because both times we've played, we've filled that game up. And then we've got to get Dune and Game of Thrones. We own all three of those. Good multiplayer games.
Right.
Dune and Game of Thrones are good stab people in the back games. So, you got to tell people coming in, all right, it's a game you're going to lie, cheat, and steal. Nothing personal. That's the game.
Right. And then Dune, they got a new movie coming out or something like that, I believe.
I'd heard about that. Yeah, looking forward to that.
So this says, I'm retired Air Force, 30 years, love the mini game groups, Waycross and Savannah, looking forward to getting all together for a big game day. Been an RPG and mini gamer since they were 12 and they're 59 now. So having a group painting session is a lot of fun for camaraderie. So I know Mike's opened up his house numerous times over the years and had group painting sessions. Then also I know that they we've tried it for game nights and game day opportunities as well to do paint sessions. And always stay positive.
So the thing about the group painting, so just once we come out of quarantine, I've got 30 US and 30 German bolt action guys that were assembled by different members of the WGC, and I won't name anybody because I'm sure I'd forget someone, but I had a number of people come over and help me put them together, which resulted in some interesting constructions. But also we've got them base coated, so when we come out of quarantine, I'm going to definitely be looking to do a bolt action escalation league, and I've got 5-man teams to give people to get started, and we can actually play bolt action like we do Kill Team with a man-on-man type approach. So the idea would be to do the group painting and a good opportunity to swap techniques and try different things, but then eventually put your own 5-man team and. Eventually everybody build up to a platoon and put a platoon on the table, but I'll at least spot you the first 5 or 10 anyway. Warlord Games actually donated 2 boxes of troops just to get that off the ground, and I can't say enough how excellent Warlord is in their game support.
Right. Again, folks, don't forget I've got the website up there right now. It's Gator Games Wayx.com. That's a link to Mike's online store where he is I guess you would call it a rep, Warlord Games rep, and also Starfleet battles if I got that one name correct, but that is the website to go to. He offers really good discounts on those products, so go check it out. Also on that website, you will see some terrain, and Mike has partnered with Heath Coker. Again, Heath is also the owner operator of Swampworks here in Waycross. So they are partnered together for that, and that is Gator Games and Books. So, and again, this is Mike Baker. He is a admin. He is one of the admins of the Waycross Gaming Community. So I'll try to do some advertising as well.
Yeah, I meant to change my shirt and put my team shirt on. Shame on me.
Yep, here is one of the Waycross Gaming Community shirts designed by yours truly. And so that is on the Waycross Gaming Community page as well, that you can go and purchase this shirt. You can get different colors. They also have coffee mugs, tote bags, a couple other items out there. So you can pick the material of the shirt or hoodie. So go check that out. I think it's on tpublic.com, I believe is the website, but we have a link to it on the Waycross Gaming, and we will reshare that out as well after this episode. And again, folks, we are on YouTube, Waycross Gaming Community. Go subscribe. Hit the like and share buttons on Facebook. Share it to friends, other groups you are a part of. Help us get our name and products out there for us. That we would greatly appreciate it. Also on YouTube, you can look under me, Tyler Peck. It's pretty much the same episodes as the ones that are going on the WGC, but I can always use those subscribe and likes as well. I also have a couple other videos on there that talk about sports if you're interested in that. So we have a couple new comments. So bolt action really puts you into the time frame. You have to think about what you do as a player and as a military retiree. I've seen real war. It is not easy to make decisions. But like a guy from Zombie Smith said, too bad we can't just push little metal men around and redo it tomorrow instead of the real thing. Amen to that. Michael Holland, who is another admin, we mentioned him earlier. He said, I am ready to get back into gaming, miss it, and game nights in general. Yeah, I think we all do. So this pandemic has, I'm sure it's been difficult on a lot of folks, especially to those that really need to get out. So it's just been a tough time, very tough time for folks, but hopefully it's given, us time to kind of reevaluate certain things in our life and how we handle different situations. And that's kind of this person. Yeah, God bless everyone from this COVID-19. Be safe, all you guys out there in Miniland. And then let's get back to it ASAP. So whenever it's clear to do so and people aren't as at a risk, yes, I know a lot of people are ready to get back out there. So sooner the better.
Trisha and I have actually had a miniature game set up on the table all week trying to get to it. So we're hoping to get to it either tonight or tomorrow. Game of Warlords of Erewhon. We actually have an interesting idea, and for those of you folks that have different rule sets, this is worth a try. We're gonna actually take one scenario out of Warlords of Erewhon, and we're gonna run it using Warlords of Erewhon. Then we're gonna run it using Lord of the Rings, and then we're gonna run it using Dragon Rampant, just to see all the different iterations and how they play differently. And I'll write up a kind of a comparison of that. And those are all three games I own. I know Tyler owns Lord of the Rings, and I got to tell you, as a comparative, Lord of the Rings in its newest edition has really done a lot with really giving all the different weapons special abilities.
Yeah.
And Warlords of Erewhon does something real similar, and it's kind of interesting. In learning Warlords of Erewhon, it kind of made me take a pivot back toward Lord of the Rings and better understand somewhat what they're trying to capture with the whole weapons differences for Lord of the Rings. The people Tyler and I haven't played the full new rules yet, but they do a bunch of interesting things with weapons and with characters that are a huge refinement from I guess what would have been the second or third edition of the Lord of the Rings rules. And I'll tell you too, and Tyler, you do that. I can see you do this too. I'm a huge fan of skirmish games. Don't get me wrong. I can put the Army of the White Hand on the table, and it looks absolutely stunning. But that's a collection I've built for 20 years. For new players and even for myself,
Sorry.
I'm a huge fan of games that allow you to play with, say, 10, 15 minutes, less time to paint. You can build more factions. For example, we talked about Kill Team. Tyler, you have what? 2 kill teams now? Two different factions?
Well, yeah, pretty much. I got like the Gene Stealer cult and Tyranids.
Okay.
Kind of what I use.
Yeah.
So.
So you and Vernon are the 2 NID players. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got Space Marines and I've got the Adeptus Mechanicus, and it's just for $50, $60, you can add another army as opposed to $40K. If you're going to add another army, you're going to have to take a second mortgage out on your house.
All right. I do actually have a Grey Wolves, but it's only 5 guys. So I've only played with it. Yeah, I've only played with it once. So I'll have to check on who this is, but this says that I rock, and says I guess I sent them an invite a few weeks ago. So I'll have to check and see who that is, because right now it's, like I said, it's showing up as Facebook user on my end right now while I'm on the StreamYard page. And then this person, I'm sorry, Lord of the Rings is Top's love for any fantasy battle. Play or fight system rocks. So yep. And I had a thought a second ago. But I can't think of what it is right now. So again, folks, we're coming up on almost an hour, and as I've always told the people that are on the show, I want to be respectful of their time. And even though it is a Friday night, getting ready for the weekend, and on a Friday night we would normally be at game night until just after 9, and then out eating. But I know people's plans have changed a lot since then, so we probably won't be hanging out too much longer. Unless we still got a lot of questions and stuff coming in, but folks, again, just leave a comment or question. So they said typo, no curse word there. So I think they were putting if you want to play, and not if you want to play. But yeah, folks, again, we're just I got Mike Baker. He's an admin of the Waycross Gaming Community. He has recently started this Gator Games and Books, where he is selling Warlord games, merchandise, mainly trying to push the bolt action. And he also has Starfleet Battles on his page, as well as some terrain that he's partnered with Heath Coker with. Again, you can follow us on YouTube. YouTube channel is Waycross Gaming Community, and I've got my own personal YouTube. And I'll put this out there. When both channels get 50 subscribers, and again, you can subscribe to both, you'll get 2 entries. But basically what happens is when both channels get 50 subscribers each, I will have a drawing, and I can do that live, or a random generator, but I will offer up a miniature from the game Twisted. It is a tabletop miniatures game. So I did an interview with Peter Overton. He is one of the co-creators of Twisted. So I was gracious enough to get some product from them. So I will, like I said, I will offer up a miniature when both channels hit 50 subscribers. So please push those channels out for us. We would greatly appreciate it. So then we got some people laughing at the typo curse thing, and then somebody said Doctor Who. So we got, I guess, some Doctor Who fans. I know we got some, Carla and Edward Johnson in our group are big Doctor Who fans. My son Alec is a huge Doctor Who fan, and I know that Mike, y'all gave Alec some Doctor Who part of the game recently. So he's got those over here on the table that he's been working on and painting and all that good stuff. So I know there is a Doctor Who convention, I think in Jacksonville. If Edward or Collar are watching, you can let us know.
Yeah.
Where that is. So I'm not sure if that's who that is right there. But like I said, I know they are big Doctor Who fans. I believe Holland is a Doctor Who fan as well. But I could be wrong on that.
Holland's on the thread. Speak up, Michael.
So if you're a Doctor Who fan, if you know where that convention is, you can throw a shout out there and type it out for us. But yeah, it's just a Friday night. We're hanging out. So let's see. Doctor Who mini game plays well. So I have not had the opportunity to play it yet. As I said, my son owns some of it, but we have not gotten, I guess, the full game version. And actually sat down and read the rules. I know he also has a Doctor Who card game. But yeah.
And just one more idea to throw out there. One of the things Tyler and I did the other night, I think we ended up doing it here.
Yeah, we were on here, but we didn't go live.
Yeah, we did a painting. We just hung out and painted. So, if you want to do a virtual hangout, tag me, tag Tyler. We can do it here. Of course, Facebook Messenger has a dial-in feature. It's very easy to set up a conference with Facebook Messenger. And if you just want to hang out and get some actual face-to-face time and maybe paint miniatures or just talk, don't hesitate to set that up. Maybe I don't know. I thought it was really fun, Tyler.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Holland Doctor Who is my regular doctor.
Yeah, we know what he uses that sonic screwdriver for, making all the adjustments.
Yeah, this one says it's Friday. We all need to hang and chill.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with the folks, those that are watching or watch later and after that, yeah, this StreamYard is something that another guy that I know he uses. So, and that's why I kind of started using it. It's really easy. This is just a free account. You can pay for premium accounts and all that can add some bells and whistles and different graphics and logos. Something that I have considered, but right now I'm not gonna. I mean, right now I'm not gonna do it, but I may soon in the near future. It allows you to put a logo. So if I was doing the WGC interviews and stuff, I have a WGC logo up there in the corner where the StreamYard duck is. You can also do like introduction videos and all kind of stuff that the other accounts kind of offer, but this one's free. And again, like Mike kind of alluded to earlier, yeah, we were just on this, but we didn't go live. And we actually had, his daughter was on the Facebook Messenger. But we were all in there together, just hanging out, talking, chilling. But yeah, again, this is free. And you don't have to go live, so you can just hang out with your friends. I know people have been using Zoom, and there's other stuff that people have been using to do RPGs and just talking to family and friends. But yeah. So, well, folks, we'll hang out a few more minutes. Again, we've been going for just over an hour. So if anybody has any kind of last questions or comments they want to make, they can go on and do so. Again, I'll kind of let Mike do his little, if he wants to do one more kind of spiel on what he's got going on.
Sure. So like I say, my current project that I'm working rapidly to finish is my bolt action guys. My 30 GIs here. I'm going to really go crazy here. I'm actually going to do these paratroopers up in the livery of the 82nd Airborne. And just to give you an idea of what I'm working with here, there's the little tiny decals. So say prayers for patience. I did watch a video on how to take them off, but my dad was an alumni of the 82nd Airborne Division, so I want to do those kind of in honor of him. He's still around, honor as ever, but wanted to do those specifically in 82nd colors for him. Again, when they're done, Randy, Jan, and I, or Joy, are working on a Civil War project. So I've been tasked with making sure my Iron Brigade troops are all painted and ready to go, as well as doing several artillery batteries for the game. So that'll be next. After that, I'm going to do some flavor of Ancients. Ancients is one of those periods that I like it. I like it a lot. It's just to do mass combat, you have to have a lot of troops, or you've got to make some tweaks. Warlord has a game called SPQR that kind of does. It's a unit-based game, but it's got somewhat of a skirmish feel to it. And there's even historical army list for Warlords of Erewhon. So that's kind of got me encouraged to maybe try and either finish off my 1/72nd scale Ancients, which are not here now, but I've got probably 300 of those unpainted, I'm ashamed to say, or do 28 millimeter.
All right, love you. All right, Sarah, my daughter's leaving, so.
Okay, well, that's important. So Sarah Yoakum is working on Gauls and Romans in 28 millimeter. She's got a copy of Hail Caesar that was provided by Warlord Games to kind of pivot that, get that part of our hobby started off. I've got Romans and Gauls. I'm probably going to start on Gauls. And then John Connor, I haven't seen him check in yet. John Connor, he's another one of our excellent painters, but he actually has 28 millimeter Romans. So you can look to see the Romans come out probably within a month or two. And then one other thing that I'm working on, Tyler and I were talking about this today. Warlord Games is relaunching the game Victory at Sea. I was joking with Tyler that I actually had planned to bring that game out to show the Mongoose version of it. Tyler's played that with me, and we had a great time. So I was looking to do Victory at Sea with more of a Pacific theme. Again, just as a side note, there was a lot of cruiser and battleship actions relatively between the Americans and Japanese, especially around Guadalcanal. So Pacific made sense. Well, that's what Warlord's doing with their Victory at Sea game. And that'll probably be my fourth project. I'll be getting a demo kit on that probably in June. And they'll be rolling the game out. I'm taking pre-orders now. So it's naval combat. It's kind of based a bit on the Cruel Seas mechanic. Basically, it's fast play. You can put a squadron on and play it in a reasonable amount of time. If you played something like Starfleet or even what's the Games Workshop ship game?
Dreadfleet.
Not Dreadfleet. They're sci-fi. Drawing a complete blank.
I'm not sure right now. Somebody will probably tell us.
Yeah. So it's designed. It's designed to put a whole squadron on the table and play it in a reasonable amount of time, as opposed to something like Starfleet battles where you would run just one or two ships at most. So that's kind of my four projects, heavily themed toward Warlord. Again, not just because I sell them, but I really like their products. I mean, the gang will tell you I broke their stuff out several times over the years. So that's what I'm really excited about. And then whatever else might happen to catch my fancy. I mean, I'm always up to throw some grav tanks on the table or some ogres. So any given Friday night, I'm liable to break just about anything out.
This person wants to build a full Roman legion.
Have at it.
Sounds good. Mitch Mitchell, Battlefleet Gothic.
Yeah, that's it. As I understand that's a fairly detailed game as well.
Yep. Well, yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna finish these Auric Gore-Grunners up. Hopefully tonight. Maybe not. I don't know. Kind of depends how I feel after I get off here. Just got to do a couple little more details and like the wash and everything. And then I don't know what else is on the plate. I've got some Twisted stuff coming in the mail, so that should be here. I was hoping tomorrow. I was hoping today, actually, but it looks like it'll probably be here Monday now. So I'm sure I'll be assembling those. Yeah, there's always stuff to paint. So it's just a matter of I don't know what I feel like painting. I guess I need to roll a dice and decide there. It says to be true to all gaming, if you are a true gamer, for the most part, you will play everything from RPG to mini games, including cards. And all we need, we do need to play. I mean, yep.
So is this where I put the Traveler plug in?
So
No names mentioned. Yeah, one thing I'll tell you too. I don't know about everybody else, but I was talking to Trish about this. I've actually felt more like painting than gaming the last few weeks. I think because with everything being so topsy turvy with COVID and everything, when I'm painting, it's something I can do, and I can actually make progress, and it's something that's I don't know. I told like I told Trish, I said it's something I can get done as opposed to everything else right now that seems kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. I know that I don't know if the person's still watching that was the novice painter, but again, just keep at it, keep trying. Again, just do a little bit each night, and that's kind of what I've attempted to do. I don't do it every night, but I try to get a little bit done here and there. And if I don't know what you're planning on painting to that person, but maybe you just paint the legs or pants, or
Right.
or maybe you just paint their upper body, and go through all of them. You're going to be, for the most part, probably using the same color palette. So just go through each one. You paint their shirt, paint all their shirts, and then start over. Tyler or Mike, do you play Gaslands? Yes, we
Yes.
both play Gaslands. We actually have quite a few of us that play. Mike Hutchison. I was actually talking to Sig yesterday. Mike Hutchison is the guy that created Gaslands, and he's got a new project coming out, A Billion Stars, which I believe kind of got pushed back to 2021. But that was something that we had kind of looked at one point, but it looks like it's gotten pushed back. So that's A Billion Stars. And then also I was on Gasland's Facebook page, and apparently, he's kind of created a new kind of game, Perilous Tales. And it's kind of like this pulp horror type thing where it's from like the 1800s to 1900s. But it's kind of got like a rule book there, but you're kind of, I'll just let people kind of go look it up on their own. Perilous Tales, Mike Hutchison. And like I said, I found it on Gaslands, and then I kind of there's some YouTube stuff on it as well. Mike, Mitch, tell us your thoughts on Gaslands. We like it. The one cool thing about it is that I've enjoyed is just the kit bashing of Hot Wheel cars. You can get Hot Wheel cars for $1 a piece. Smash them up, break them up, cut them up, and add some weapons and guns and all kind of craziness to them. So, and then go to Mars and fight. It's a good thing to calm your mind and put things in perspective if you need to. It's also a good way to unwind. Yes, painting can do that. I guess it could also do the other. It can frustrate you at times, I guess. But for the most part, a lot of people find it relaxing. So, and then this person, like an assembly line when painting an army, that requires uniformity, or a lot of minis that have the same uniform. So so you're basically working an assembly line, and that's what I like with my Gore Grunners here. I went through like where there's red armor. I just kind of painted red armor on all of them. Maybe not even the exact same spot, just because orcs, they just take different metal and everything and just kind of bang it all together and put it wherever. But I went through and did that, and then the yellow, and then black, and then painted each grunted at their own. But again, you just kind of go through like an assembly line. So
Tyler, I'm a spaceship fiend, spaceship combat fiend, and this Billion Suns, I may have to bite on that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those two that you can kind of you're going to be at the customization of it. I think is what will be another key, I guess, selling point. I know it's on Board Game Geek. There was like a picture of it and everything. I don't know how much is actually out there, how much information is actually out there on it.
Wow. It's so just to, so this is in typical Osprey fashion. This looks like a game that's going to be what we call figure agnostic. So, and I'll just put this out there. If you guys want to play that, I'll definitely get the rules. Nobody's got to buy any miniatures. I've got, between the miniatures that I have for the old Star Wars miniature combat game, and what I have from Red Alert, I've got enough miniatures easily to put this game on the table if you guys want to give it a test drive.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of folks that would probably be interested in at least give it a shot. And again, that other one, Perilous Tales, from what I saw in the YouTube video and playthrough of it, I just watched a little bit. But yeah, you can kind of, you can use your own miniatures.
Yeah.
You kind of have a group of heroes. I mean, this one guy, he basically was like, he said this is kind of like an X-Files thing. So he had like the agents from X-Files, and then he's like, these other three guys are my FBI, FBI task force with them. And he's like, they're going to fight these, whatever, So again, like the customization of it kind of seemed intriguing. And I've actually I tried to reach out to him, Mike Hutchison. So I don't know. I'd like to have him on. So like I said, I reached out to him. But so if anybody knows him, Mitch Mitchell, if you happen to know him, yeah, plug me in. So. Well, all right, folks. It's about 8:20, and again, as I've said, we've been on for an hour and 20 minutes almost. So, again, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I'm sure y'all are enjoying watching. I know Mike and I are enjoying it, but we also have families that we need to get to, and dinner needs to be eaten or cooked, and all that. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I guess somebody said run till 8:30. Okay, we'll go 11. We'll go 11 more minutes by my clock. I got 8:19 on my laptop, so we'll go. You don't have to twist my arm. We'll go to 8:30. So
it's not a hard.
Just kind of, again, we're just kind of hanging out, having fun, folks. If you would like, share, do all that good stuff, get us out there. Again, we'll be on YouTube. Waycross Gaming Community has a channel. And I do Tyler Peck, aka Kickstand. But yeah, Tyler Peck is my YouTube channel. You can look it up, or Kicking It with Kickstand might pop up as well. If you would subscribe to both channels, we would greatly appreciate it. When both channels reach 50 subscribers each, I will have a drawing or like some kind of randomization of choosing a winner. That winner will receive a miniature from the game Twisted. Twisted is a steampunk miniature game. Be sure to check out that video. I talked to one of the co-creators, Peter Overton, and you can find that on YouTube. So check that video out. So yeah, there are those plugs. So again, also you can, I'll post it again. Let's see. Mike's got his store, Gator Games, wayx.com. He offers Warlord games, mostly the bolt action, as well as Starfleet battles. He also has some terrain that has been him and Heath Coker have collaborated together on that. Heath Coker is a local 3D printer here in Waycross. He runs Swampworks. I did an interview with him. You can check that out. Be sure to like that video, share it out. You can help Heath get his products out there as well. You can contact him about your 3D print needs. He's 3D printed some stuff for me. Speaking of Gaslands, he actually 3D printed some weapons for me. He also, he 3D printed this for me recently. So it's Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th. So that is a bust. So I've never painted one of those, but I'm extremely excited to do that. So
I guess I'm kind of surprised. Does anybody have any more questions about the club? maybe you're not in Waycross, or if you are, how do you start a group? How do you any questions about the growth of the club? I mean, we've gone from folks that folks that met, just kind of met casually, to we've formally helped Galactic Comics and Games run the game room at JekyllCon 2 years running. We ran games, like I said, we ran some games for Mitch at the No Name Con. We've gone to, well, we sent both. I went as Gator Games, but we also, Trish and Max went as kind of reps to Coastal Con, and they both had a good time there.
Real quick. Speaking of Coastal Con, I spoke with the guy that started that, Max McClellan.
Yeah.
Or Mac McClellan. So that was the first video I did. Again, you can find that. You can scroll through the WGC on Facebook and try to find it, or you can go to the WGC YouTube channel and find it. That was episode 1. So yeah, Mac is the one that he's up in Beaufort, South Carolina. He is the one that started Coastal Con. So this person, this goes kind of back to, we were talking about Gaslands and some of these games where you can, kind of use your own figures, miniatures type stuff. So yeah, this is the best way. They say, have a bunch of people bring and mix minis for a game that the rules allow any games for the, So yeah, there are multiple games that you can do that with. So that is that's a good idea. Miss Nancy, I want to play Terraforming Mars again. So, but
I would have to say Terraforming Mars is probably one of the most complex but rewarding non-war games that I've played. And for not being a war game, it fills a lot of the same niches, because you've got a lot going on. You've got your card play going on. You don't really directly, it's a Euro game, so you're not necessarily directly competing with other players, but you're trying to build an empire, if you will. And, it's like a 4X without the exterminate.
Right.
Explore, exploit, and expand. So it's been a hit with our group. Again, that we own several copies in our group.
Yep.
We've got it. Nancy's got it. The Yokums have it. The Johnsons have it. The Rodens have it. So yeah, we've got like 5 sets in our group. We've talked about trying to do a Terraforming Mars tournament. We certainly have enough games where we could do it. And of course, now you do that, we could honestly host a tournament at 4 players to a game with 5 sets. We could have 100 people, 80 people, 40. Yeah. 40. I can do math, really. But
you could have a lot of people. I know that it was. Not only is it one of the top games that our club has been playing, especially before the COVID stuff, but it is. As far as I've seen, it's one of the top games.
Yep.
Out there. Period. So it's on a lot of the top list. It's a great way for a company to work, allowing any minis for their rules. There's definitely positives for allowing any miniature to be used, but at the same time, I know that there's a lot of games they obviously want you to, and a lot of companies would rather you buy their own product and buy their miniatures for it. So they're definitely see both sides to it.
I think too, and Tyler and I, you and I were talking about this earlier, that sometimes in the a game, even a game that's figure neutral, it's going to look and feel best with the miniatures that were designed for it. For example, we talked about Lord of the Rings. Obviously, it's going to look best if you've got the Lord of the Rings miniatures from whatever line, generally Games Workshop, although some other people over the years, Raul Partha, I think, did some Lord of the Rings miniatures way back in the 80s. But the miniatures are kind of part of the story. So what you don't want is you wouldn't want to take, my World War II paratroopers and throw them into a game of Star Wars miniature battles and call them, call them stormtroopers, because it'd be so far out of the way. On the other hand, and this is where Osprey and where Warlord really shine, Mantic, several others, they sell, Warlord and Mantic both sell the miniatures, and they're more than happy to sell them to you, and generally at a pretty good price. But they'll tell you in a heartbeat, use what you want, use what you have, use what you like. The game Kings of War by Mantic Games has taken the country by storm, partly because you literally been able to throw onto your army base whatever you want. I've seen everything from Lord of the Rings trolls at $80 a pop, three to a unit on basis, to the Mantic trolls that are really inexpensive, to everything in between. So there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
For my part, I think as long as the miniature feeds the game story, I think it fits. For example, I've got a painted set of British English Buccaneers for Blood and Plunder that I stuck into my Kings of War army as a musketeer unit, and it actually worked, partly because my palette painting style is so similar, but partly because too it was maybe at the upper technology end, but it fit. What would have looked out of hand would have been if I'd have put some my Adeptus Mechanicus kill team on there as a faction. So
right. Yeah, that's I guess this is kind of what we're alluding to. This Wissawig, or however you want to pronounce it, but it's like what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
So I know some people can that are really big on it. I mean, if the guy's holding a pistol, you're like no, it's a plasma gun. But anyway, I was just kind of throwing that silly little banner out there. But we'll go through these last little comments. This person has kickstarted the Marvel United. So apparently it's coming out in September. So I'm not sure if that's the miniature game or I think Marvel was having a card game too coming out. So
that's probably knowing that guy, it's a miniature game.
So and then Lord of the Rings 15mm Demon World minis.
I think that's supposed to be work.
Yeah, great. Yeah, work. I was thinking orc at first.
Yeah.
Work great for large battles. Also, cobblestone minis. Somebody said a time warp type game. So yeah. So yeah, I think that could be a potential thing. Yeah, you're kind of going back and forth, time warping through time. I'm sure there's some version of that out there somewhere. Well, folks, it's 8:30. I know I haven't eaten supper. So
ditto.
Yeah, I probably need
for our hobby.
So, but folks, we certainly appreciate the ones that have this person real quick, Victorian Sci-Fi. So we certainly appreciate the viewers and comments and the questions that kept coming through during this. I want to thank Mike again for sitting down and taking time out of his evening to join. Again, folks, you can check his store out. I'll throw up the site real quick. Gator Games Wayx.com. You can go there, get your bolt action, Starfleet battles. There's some terrain on there. Check those out. Again, we will share this out on Facebook. We will share this out on YouTube. After this show's over, it'll take a little bit of time for me to upload the file and all that, but it'll be out on YouTube, Waycross Gaming Community. Subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe to my personal channel. You can find it under Kickin' It with Kickstand or Tyler Peck. Again, when both channels reach 50 subscribers, I will basically have a drawing, and offer a miniature, a twisted miniature. So yeah, folks, it's been. Oh, you're welcome, Miss Nancy. Thank you, Mitch Mitchell. He said another great show, and Miss Nancy.
Share it out. Put it on your Facebook page so everybody sees it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, push it out, share it to all your groups, friends. Thank all that information. So we, like I said, I have certainly enjoyed it. And again, Mike, thank you for your time.
Of course. Thanks, Tyler.
All right, man. Peace.
Later.